Well, Ukrainian President Zelensky visiting the White House today, asking for more military aid.
Fox 5 political analyst Rick Epps is back here with the latest on this. Rick, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
It seems like it's a different conversation, different war, same kind of topic. What is President Zelensky, first of all, what is he asking for? Is it just that he wants the money to fund that war, or what?
Well, yeah, he's asking for money for the military-industrial complex, military supplies. You know, I mean, the war can't go on without the supplies. If you don't have armaments, then there's no way to fight back, right? But he's also looking for, I think, a commitment for a geostrategic commitment to sustain and protect that border and protect the sanctity of the connection between Ukraine and the position it holds balancing Russia from Europe. And so I think it's much larger than just the money, even though the money certainly is what protects them. It goes further than that. Yeah. And I think that's what he's trying to illustrate, is that we need Ukraine to be protected in order to sustain and protect the spread of, potential spread of Putin's authoritarian aims in that region.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more. I want to go a little bit more in depth about what is at stake.
Yeah.
The president said that Putin cannot win.
Yeah.
Said he cannot win. So there has to be a lot at stake that he's coming to his friends and saying, you know, you gotta help us.
Yeah, this is why I think the pressure is on the congressional lawmakers to be able to address this, and hopefully in a reasonable amount of time, because not only does it obviously the crisis in Ukraine has been going on nearly 2 years now.
Yeah.
It'll be February. It'll be 2 years, and if the aid that's been there already, which is about $100 billion, had not been provided, Ukraine would have collapsed already. But because of that, I think what Biden is really trying to say, which I think Zelensky is why he's at Congress, is to suggest that, hey, look, we are your best ally to protect the West from an incursion by Putin. And when you think about the consequences of Putin taking over Ukraine, taking over the resources in Ukraine, there's a significant amount of resources there. Especially grains and heavy materials, machinery, that all comes through Ukraine. So if they were to take that on, they would benefit and have greater assets and greater resources that then gives them greater power. And then we have to live with the realities of what takes place. So it's a bigger picture than simply saying they just want money to fight. It's bigger than that.
You mentioned that war about 2 years now, and then October 7th happens, and then the war on Gaza happens, and now funding for Israel for that war. It seems like the impact of that has pushed Ukraine war to the back burner, if you will.
Yeah.
People almost forgot that we're still funding and helping Ukraine, and that war is still ongoing. Now there's two.
Yeah.
What does that mean in terms of the funding from the U.S. and the world?
So the total package that is on the table, which is a joint package, right? So it's a package for aid for both Israel and Ukraine.
Are they viewed equally, which is why they're doing this together as a joint package? Here's money for other countries who are fighting wars?
Well, normally when they do military package, in situations like this, when you have two crises going on simultaneously, they will sometimes, when they're getting a funding bill, try to get it all at once. It's easier to go to Congress once, especially if you have a contentious Congress, and to have one ask than to try to go for two asks. The problem that we have with that in this situation is that, okay, so for the $110 billion package, $60 billion is what Ukraine is asking for. So in that $60 billion, and certainly you could argue, and you're absolutely right, that Putin is playing a game where he likes the fact that the money that is being diverted to cover the cost in Gaza certainly does benefit, because that's money that can't go to Ukraine.
Right.
And that allows him, because if you notice, right when the Gaza starts to escalate, Putin escalates in Ukraine. Ukraine had been pretty quiet for some time. That doesn't change until Gaza happens. So he's watching us spend our money over here and hoping that because of that, we won't bother with that. We take our eyes off Ukraine, which we have for several months now.
Senate Republicans blocking the most recent package bill to Ukraine and Israel. So what's holding things up right now? Where is the money?
Well, You know what's holding it up, honestly, is and this is the reality of the fact, is that the GOP wants tighter. The border issue is a mess. Everybody knows that. We know that we've got to resolve some issues on the border. What the GOP is trying to do is say, okay, if you want the money for over here to help Ukraine and help Israel, we want commitments on the border. The problem is that what they're looking for is something that the Democrats are balking at, because it's what they're asking is pretty tight, for a pretty tight limit on the border restrictions. And so over here, they're saying, the GOP is saying, we've got you, this is our bargaining chip. So if you want us to sign on the dotted line, you have to give us the border issue that we want. And Biden, is working on some language to see if they can get this done. The question is whether they can do it before Christmas, and that's a question.
And the other point of contention here is the American public war weary. Because a lot of folks are saying, what about the border? What about us? So all that money's going out to other countries, and maybe they don't grasp the global consequences that those conflicts will have eventually on the United States. But in terms of the people here and American money going there, are they war weary? And that's enough? It's too much?
Yeah, well, I would say, I think everybody's war weary. I think we're exhausted between Iran and Gaza, and then now this, that's been going on for a few years now. It's like really, people are tired. But I would say that if you look at the polls, about 30% of the American public thinks that we're giving too much to Ukraine right now, for example. There's about the other 30% or so, I would say, who are saying it's just enough. And then another 30% who are saying we need to do more, approximately. So it's really sort of divided, but there's 2/3 of the population I think we're doing enough or we should do more. And that's a pretty significant number when trying to drive the politics. Now, the next step about that really is most people, and most citizens, I understand, don't understand the global implications, right? They don't understand the bigger picture of what takes place if we don't try to protect Ukraine. And it's not just us. The European Union has also given billions of dollars to support Ukraine as well.
Sure.
And we noticed that the biggest pushback now is the fact that more recently, the gains that they had made previously have tended to slow a little bit. So I think that's where people are sort of going, well, they're not doing as well as they were earlier in the war. And so people go, we don't know if we should give money to a sinking ship.
Yep.
But I would argue Zelensky being a one-man show, and he's a one-man show. He's not, he doesn't have a Blinken who's out traveling with him to try to sell things.
It's just him.
He's just him.
Yeah.
And I admire his courage to step in and try, and him going to Congress and all those individuals he's got to deal with, and a lot of them are opposite on this side. And then he meets with President Biden later today. That's a huge step. So I hope that we can get this done.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
A reporter in D.C. said that probably won't happen, and maybe in early next year.
Yeah.
But then the money and it's more complicated than I think a lot of people think.
It's a dangerous game right now. It's a real precipitous time.
Rick Epps, we thank you as always. We'll talk again soon.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, we'll be back.